Now, we're not suggesting you start a career of breaking and entering, but we bet you've thought about the security behind some very impressive houses once in a while. Don't worry, you're not alone. Staring up at those impressive wrought iron fences is enough to make us wonder just what other precautions are being used to stop us peasants from crossing the gates. But we're here to let you know. We put together a list of 10 of the most secure homes in the world to show you exactly what lengths the world's elite have gone to. If you do manage to get inside any of these houses, there's a chance you'll get stuck. Many of these houses have impressive security functions that can trap you forever. So to ensure you've got something to do while you're stuck, make sure to click subscribe before we begin so you've got something to watch inside the most luxurious properties. Ryong-sung Residence. You wouldn't necessarily think you'd require a lot of security when you're in charge of one of the most feared countries in the world, but Ryong-sung Residence in North Korea is pretty darn secure. It's the main residence for the royal family and sits in the northern region of the country. Not only does it have luxurious interiors, but it's also one of the most secure locations in the world. Obviously, being such a secretive country must come with matching security precautions, and so it's not too much of a surprise to hear of the lengths Kim Jong-un has gone to in order to keep himself safe at home. Along with your standard security, Ryong-sung Residence is surrounded by an electric fence, armed guards, and minefields. The walls are protected with iron rods and lead-covered concrete in order to protect it from even nuclear assaults. If disaster were to strike and the family had to get to safety quickly, an underground tunnel connects the house to the other royal residence, Shanggyung House, or Residence Number 26 as it's also known. However, it's unlikely that anyone would try and break in because if someone were to pass through all of the security checkpoints, they'd find themselves facing a variety of dangerous substances anyway. Fairfield Estate. The Hamptons are where the richest of the rich hang out over summer, and with all that cash lying around, it's no wonder that they have the security measures in place to protect it. The Fairfield Estate is one of the most secure in the whole area. It's owned by the billionaire Ira Renard, who made some of his massive fortune collecting art. Some of his favorite works are dotted around the estate at a total value of more than $500 million. The estate itself is worth an estimated $200 million, making it arguably the most expensive house in the United States. So it's only right that the billionaire only wanted the best of the best security to protect his fortune. The estate is fronted with an incredibly high-tech security gate, meaning that only those invited are even capable of setting foot on the grounds, let alone the actual buildings. It has bulletproof windows and enough security cameras to make you think twice about stepping foot on the property without an explicit invitation. Ira considered security a huge priority when it came to purchasing his new home, and we wish we knew just how much it's costing him to make sure none of his reported 21 bedrooms get broken into. The Zombie Bunker. Admittedly, it's not a problem we've come across yet, but have you considered how your home would fare if zombies were to attack? Welcome to the Zombie Bunker, the world's first zombie-proof house. Just in case, zombies do eventually decide to take over the world. Even the windows are backed up with a thick layer of concrete, although somehow the entire house still has movable walls. You might wonder what the need for this was, but with a drawbridge entry system into the house, it's clear the architects wanted to risk nothing when it came to keeping us safe. In fact, this drawbridge is the only way to enter and exit the house, which means that if you need to leave in a rush, you might have to prepare in advance. Who knows what these zombies are capable of? The house is backed up with a thick sheet of iron too, so there's definitely no chance of sneaking in or knocking the walls down without somebody noticing. The zombie bunker isn't the most aesthetic building we've ever seen, but there's no doubt about its safety precautions. We're not expecting to be overrun with zombies anytime soon, but if it does happen, we know where we'll be turning to. Bill Gates. His security team is thought to be pretty friendly, but we still wouldn't take the risk of breaking into Bill Gates' house anytime soon. With one of the most expensive properties in the world and a background in technology, it's only expected that he would have the high-tech measures to match. Aside from frequent cameras, Bill had a smart idea when it came to protecting his home without running up his electricity bill too much. He grew plants and trees all the way around the entire property. Not only does this stop snap-happy photographers from getting too close, but it also works to alert Bill if anyone is trying to jump the fence. The house is reported to have one of the most state-of-the-art security systems in the world. With no expense spared, the multiple cameras and security precautions means Bill likely lives in one of the safest places ever. When he has guests over, they're required to wear a special pin that lets them control the heating and surrounding electrical equipment. This means that anybody who turns up unwelcome will be spotted a mile away. Because of his background, it's only natural that Bill would control his security with specialist technology, but we're pretty impressed all the same. The White House. Did you know that Barack Obama was the most heavily guarded president on Earth? The White House therefore has almost every safety feature you could think of. For a start, an iron fence surrounds the property. This might seem fairly standard, but the fence is far out enough to minimize the impact of dangerous cars. Dotted around inside and outside the fence are members of the Secret Service, who dedicate their lives to making sure the White House is only open to the kind of visitors they want on site. The President's house also has a pretty specialized feature of food scanners, which is actually off-site. This means that if anything is planted inside dinner tonight, it can be safely detonated out of harm's way. Unlike the majority of the rest of the USA, and the world actually, the White House even controls the air. Restricted airspace means helicopters can't come too close, and in the last few years, the area has been expanded for extra precaution. But just in case you've managed to get this close without being stopped and thoroughly searched, the house also has bulletproof windows, radars on the rooftops to detect unwanted movement, and infrared sensors that can detect local movement by heat. The Corby family. Based in the Hollywood Hills of California, the Corby family are known for their excessive and expensive security precautions. The millionaire family and their luxury residence are pretty well protected with everything from biometric recognition software to earthquake prevention techniques. It's pretty common to build earthquake-proof houses around the United States, but the Corby family's house is built with concrete structures which were buried about 30 feet underground. Along with natural disasters, the house is also prepared in the event of man-made disasters like nuclear or chemical issues. An underground bunker was built and holds enough food and drink to keep a family alive for 3 to 6 months. Now that puts your freezer stocks to shame. In an effort to be one of the most technologically secure houses in the world, the Corby family even have a telephone system that can be used everywhere inside, meaning that if an intruder entered, they could communicate without ever having to divulge whereabouts in the property they were hiding. Most likely, they would be hiding in the well-stocked panic room, which has a variety of CCTV cameras and can connect to the local police at the touch of a few buttons. But the most impressive feature? The Corby household has the means to release fog into the property to scare off burglars, which sounds great until somebody accidentally pulls it and scares everyone. Buckingham Palace. It's a hugely popular tourist trap, and so it's a known fact that Buckingham Palace in London, England has a lot of security measures if you're looking to visit. If you've seen the famous changing of the guards, you'll know that a few roads surrounding the palace are closed off each time. But recently, armed police have extended the no-go area and have stepped up their presence to ensure the changing goes along smoothly. Buckingham Palace is known for its security measures, but for very good reason. Famously, a few people have tried to scale the building in order to break in, and one guy, called Michael Fagan, actually got in and had a quick look around once. Luckily, it hasn't happened again since. The guards carry out a ring-around system to make sure that nobody sleeps through their shifts. Obviously, if you're working late at night and there's not much going on, it can be easy to let your eyelids droop, but the system works to stop this. For example, Guard A would ring Guard B, who would ring Guard C, and so on, until the entire property had been covered and everybody was keeping an eye out for intruders. The Kardashians. After the incident in Paris last year, it's no revelation to hear that Kim Kardashian has stepped up security everywhere she goes. From firing her bodyguard of 4 years, Pascal Duvier, to increasing the security in her own house, she's not about to be taking any more risks. The security team manning the property were all subject to intense background checks, and only the very best of the best were hired. But for those who wish to enter the house, more than a quick chat is needed. Visitors have to be patted down by a member of the security team to ensure that only pre-approved visitors can come in. Surrounding the house is also a variety of cars. Since the incident last year, Kim Kardashian is cautious of people following her, and instead of driving one car, mixes up each journey so that no one is able to follow her footsteps. Multiple security cameras and motion sensors surround the property, and rumor has it there's a safe room just in case anything goes wrong. The state-of-the-art security system has impressive alarms for every eventuality, and it's thought that the property is almost as secure as Fort Knox, although that might just be a threat to keep everyone out. Maximum Security Mansion. It's not the most pretentious name for a house we've come across, but the Maximum Security Mansion in Evergreen, Colorado is definitely one of the most heavily protected. As the name would suggest, the 32-acre property has a $6 million security system that puts almost all other houses to shame. One very impressive feature about this house is that you can check up on it from anywhere in the world. The cameras surrounding it show both the interior and the exterior of the property and can be viewed by anybody with an Apple phone. Assuming they've got the login details and the acceptance from the security team first, we're guessing. Be careful, if you're considering breaking and entering this house, there's definitely something you should know. The property has impressive thermal imaging, so any handprints can be checked and identified up to 20 minutes after they've been made. And, on the slim chance you're considering flooding the place in order to hide your identity, don't assume you'll be in the clear. Along with super sensors to detect almost anything, the home is able to tell if there's been a water leak, including anything from the bathroom to accidental or intentional floods. Kronstadt Fort Alexander I. The whole point of Kronstadt Fort Alexander I was to keep people away from St. Petersburg in Russia, which is one of the reasons as to why you will probably never be able to get close to the property. There are over 40 forts in the area, and Kronstadt Fort Alexander I is one of the most secure. The area has been subject to attacks in the past, but eventually everyone seems to have given up. Kronstadt Fort Alexander I is just a little bit too secure for anybody to bother making enough effort. The military installation has 12-meter-long piles that dig deep into the ocean to reinforce the top of the property. It's so secure, in fact, that there are 5,535 of these piles. It's not likely to be knocked over, is basically what we're saying. On top of these piles are many layers which act as further reinforcement. The first layer is sand, followed by concrete, and topped with granite. Even if you could dig through the sand layer, you probably wouldn't get much further. The fort definitely served its purpose during the olden times, and although now it's technically abandoned, it's not somewhere you could visit for a day trip whilst in the area, even if you really tried your best. After watching this video, you're definitely going to know exactly what to look out for next time you're touring a huge property. We hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you click subscribe to the hub before you go. Thanks!